Hi, everybody. Welcome back live. So, yesterday we were doing a lot of work. Yesterday we were talking about getting things from the field of possibilities into reality and your goals and your dreams and how they work. So, we are done with this for today. But for now, we are going to talk about fear. Fear. Like all these dreams that we were talking about yesterday, they can come true. All the dreams that you have, they can come true. But the reason that they are probably not coming true is because of fear. When we have fear, it's an energy and it spreads and it paralyzes us. So in this today's video, we're going to talk about overcoming fear and how you can program your mind to and condition it to just live a brave life, to just move with confidence. One time I thought I'm just timid, like, oh my God, I'm just timid. I'm a timid person. But then I realized that I can train my mind just like you train your mind to learn how to do math or a new language. We can train our mind to learn how to overcome fear, to live fearlessly. And again, we know that the best time to condition the mind is in the morning when you wake up, because that's when your mind is in the subconscious. And then the other time is at night, because you're moving from the high beta waves and you're going back to theta waves and alpha waves. And that's also a very good time to condition your mind into living positively, to live without fear. So some of the things that I do to program myself is I tell myself positive, powerful things, that I am kind, I am powerful, I am joyful, that I am, people welcome me wherever I go. When I start telling myself these things, is I overcome the mind, the negative mind that is telling me that, I'm not all that. you know and you start moving with confidence every day when you condition your mind. So what happens over time, when you repeat these positive cassettes in your mind, that you're confident, you're welcome everywhere you go, you are beautiful, you start behaving in these kinds of ways. Your mind automatically, because it's your subconscious mind, it believes it's this way, it will start behaving that way. And then you find yourself over time that things are starting to happen, that you're connecting the dots, like one thing in your life is connecting across multiple other facets of your life. And that's when you start feeling like you're connected and you're moving in a new program, in a new mind. It is quite simple like that. Thank you all of that. Welcome everybody joining in. Today we are talking about living fearlessly, overcoming and embracing fear. Sometimes it seems like difficult when you say, like, how do I embrace fear? When you realize, like, when you have to learn new things, you have to suck in the very beginning. You will not be perfect at everything you start immediately from the very start. What stops us is wanting to be perfect. This perfectionism, like you want to start something new and then you want to be perfect the very first time, even when you know that that's not how the mind works. Nobody starts something and becomes successful at the very first time. So when you embrace fear, it comes from that kind of a spicy, salty confidence. When like, the first try I might suck, I might even fail, but we have a very famous saying where I come from. We say, to lose your way is to find your way. Hi, FNS. Hi, beautiful. Welcome, welcome. Today we are talking about living fearlessly. So welcome. Let me know what if you have an aspect in your life where you had to take action and you had to live fearlessly and you had to embrace fear. Sometimes you just have to embrace, like, hey, when I'm starting something new, I'll suck. It's going to suck. I might even fail, because starting something new is difficult. your brain is trying to learn a new program, something that it has never done before. And let me tell you, when I started like doing my YouTube channel, it took me almost like 10 years because I wanted to start this in like 2013, but I was so confused. I was like, how do I even shoot a video? How do I upload a video? It's too difficult. It's hard. People will laugh at me, you know? And I was like, I'm not as, I had low confidence about it. I was like, I'm not as cute as so many people on YouTube who seem like they have all the confidence in the world. They are good on camera. I was like, how do I even do this? I was very terrified, very, very terrified. You're saying my hair is better than yours? I did this hair by myself. I learned how to braid this hair. This is the second time I learned how to do my hair. And I wasn't good. You should have seen it the first time. It sucked. It sucked. We have to embrace fear, and in the beginning, when you're starting something new and you're afraid of failing, call it art. Call it art, because with art you have leeway. You have leeway for, like, I could draw gibberish here and call it art, because who is to tell me that's not art, you know you know and when we are trying, it's the beautiful part of our minds when you're trying to learn new things, where our mind is trying to get new concepts. It's trying to understand new concepts. So welcome everybody. You're welcome. Um, yeah, our mind is learning new concepts, and we have to give it grace to learn a new concept. Welcome everybody. So when your mind is learning and you're beginning to learn a new program, something new, give it time. Give yourself grace. Embrace the failure in the beginning. Don't go there with the thinking that I have to be perfect. I gotta be perfect. When you're starting something new, it's never going to be perfect, because our brain learns through repetition, right? Our brain learns through repetition. Um, so that's kind of what I want you to get. Like, you can embrace the fact that you can fail. Everybody fails. Everybody fails. What stops us is thinking that we got to be perfect. We ought to be perfect. We have to start something and it has to take off. Otherwise, we are afraid about what other people will think about us if we fail. We are afraid of people judging us. We are judging ourselves. This is what stops us. But when you normalize failure, when you realize, let me make failure normal. It is normal thing, because success and failure go together. Success is never a straight line. It's like whoops, 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 whoops. When you embrace that, it's never going to be a straight line like this. That's when you start winning in life. When you embrace failure. Pretty much everybody who has ever started something knows that there's times that you're going to be like, oh my goodness, why did I even think this was a good idea, right? And then they learn to embrace that. There's the ups and the downs. And then, so when you're on the downs, is like when you learn how to pick yourself up as a failure. When you fall down, you don't stay down. You have to learn to pick yourself up. That was like the greatest lesson that I ever learned, to just like normalize failure. I'm not going to start something and then not fail, not like for it to go smoothly. A lot of people think that when you think about like things going smoothly, like sometimes you might even, that can be actually negative and realistic thinking. When you start something and you think, oh, it's going to come all out so perfectly, there will be nothing going wrong. Think about somebody's wedding. Obviously it's a wedding, it's a beautiful thing, but when you're planning for the wedding, the things that go wrong, that we call the women who are getting married bridezillas because they're stressed out towards one of their happiest moments in their lives, when they make a huge commitment. And they're like, I feel like a bridezilla, you know. You're like, why does it feel like you're a bridezilla in your wedding? It's because sometimes, even when you're planning something good, you can feel like a failure, like it doesn't come. But then you look back after 5 years of getting married and you're like, wow, that was a beautiful day. You look at the photos and you're like, oh, I thought it was stressful, but it actually came out well. It's when you look in hindsight after a block of time has passed through your life and you realize everything that you thought was a failure was actually success. It was actually a lesson pushing you forward and showing you this is not how you do it, try this other way. It was like a different language. So it is our attitude and our approach to failure that matters. It's not really the fact that we fail, because it's a normal process of learning and trying new things and growing. It's really our attitude. So when we embrace it, when we make it normal, that's what changes everything. That's what changes everything. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about embracing failures. Shoot me a comment right below. Tell me your experiences with embracing failure and the attitude and the things that you have had to tell yourself to embrace failure and the fear of failing, that attitude of being overly perfectionist. Because when we are not embracing failure, it's because really we want the world to see us as perfect. We want to put on this mask to show the world that we are something that we are not. And that's when we start failing, when we are not vulnerable, when we don't want to be shown like you're just as human as everybody else. There is something good as embracing the fact that you can fail because you're human. It's really embracing your humanity and walking through life being like, you know what, I could fail, but I'll keep trying. We always like those little children who are tenacious. They fail, they wake up, they dust themselves, and then they kind of continue playing, and you're like, wow, that's a brave one, right? Because life is about that. You fall, you wake up, you fall, you wake up. I like the fact that the Bible says that a righteous man will fall 7 times, right? And 7 times he will get back up. The resilience that of embracing failure, even in spiritual texts, like spiritual books, they embrace failure. They're like, oh, you're going on this journey of, trying to be a righteous person, trying to be a good person. You're going to fall 7 times, but you're going to get up 7 times. That is like embracing failure to the best. Where I come from, I'm Kenyan. We have a saying that you die once. And you might think, how does that saying, like you die once, have anything to do with embracing failure? Is when you're trying something massively difficult, right? And you're thinking, and your perfectionist mind is coming and telling you, oh, you're going to fail at this, like it's dangerous, don't do it, people are going to laugh at you, or things. You just tell yourself, I only die once. If it's so bad that I'll die, it'll only be once. And I like that kind of salty, sassy, spicy attitude of embracing failure. Like, hey, you only die once. If you're thinking like, somebody saying that he's in the pot smoking sabuba. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what sabuba is, but smoking is not good for you. Smoking causes cancer. Shobidoya. It's good shobidoya. I really don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Smoking causes cancer. It's bad for you. Okay, so Yeah, so we are talking about embracing failure and bringing in that saltiness and sassy attitudes to just embrace failure. And I was talking about how where I come from, we say you die once, you know, you die once. I like that positive thinking. Cancer is scared of me. I like that positive thinking, but I'm going to tell you still change your behavior. I like that positive thinking. Yeah, that's kind of a good one. I like that one. Yeah, exactly. This is the kind of sassiness that we are talking about. Like he's saying, he's not living in fear of cancer. He's saying cancer is scared of me. I like that saltiness, that sassiness when it comes to living and overcoming fear, because we are stopped by perfectionism and the fear of what other people might think about us, people judging us, all that. And when you fight back, you always fight back with your thoughts. When you never ever think that you're inherently there is anything inherently wrong with you, you have to challenge thoughts of fear and doubt. As much as we want to embrace that, you know what, when you're trying something new, obviously it's not going to come out like 100%, right? As much as we know that, we also want to challenge negative thoughts that want to bring us down. So uh, yeah, so because thoughts can impact our self-esteem, right? Thoughts can impact our self-esteem and how good we feel about ourselves. And we know the more we feel good about ourselves, the more successful we are in life. you know so the more you feel good about yourself, the more successful you are in life. So what we do is we challenge negative thoughts. We challenge them. You never let a negative thought come your way. Just throw some saltiness and spiciness to it, and you change, you reframe your mind. Why am I saying that it's good to reframe your mind? Because we pair emotions with activities. We learn through emotions. So feeling good is vital for you to try new things. And when you're trying new things, let's say you're learning how to do your makeup routine. Hi, G3. Hi, love. You're a star. Thank you so much. I like you guys. I like when you guys type and join me on the live stream. It's really nice because this is our live stream together. Today we are talking about becoming sassy and salty and challenging fear. We can challenge fear of failure when you start something new. And this is like the way that our brain works. If you understand the way our brain works, it brings you like a lot of freedom. We learn through repetition. So when you're starting something new, you're always afraid if you're of not doing it right the first time. But when you know that the brain will never get it perfect the first time, it's just nobody gets it the first time. If I tell you, oh, now go to the piano and play a piece, right? If you know that you're going to suck at that piece because the last time you sat out on a piano was like 10 years ago, then you embrace. You don't say, oh, I'm not gonna play. You're going to go and play whatever sound comes out and be like, yeah, for today, given my training, that's the best I can do. I hope you enjoyed your experience. You bring in that saltiness. You're bringing that saltiness to the experience because you know that it takes the brain a lot of practice, a lot of time to building new neural connections. The brain builds, when you learn something, the brain builds a neuron, and then another. As you continue practicing, it builds more and more and more and more neural connections. So you have a neural connection that knows color red, and you have another one that knows letter A. You have another one that knows 1. You have another one that knows 1 plus 1 is 2. So depending on how much math you know, you have a lot of neural connections regarding a certain program, whether it's math, a language, or whatever skill that you know how to do. It's all about exposing yourself to different things. That's what we call neurodiversity. Like intelligent people have a lot of neurodiversity. They know different things. So When you know that when you're beginning to learn something new, you haven't gotten enough neurons about that subject yet, then you know that there's no way possible that, you know, you can you can be good at something the very first time you do it. The only way you become better at it is through practice, repetition, because we learn through repetition and our emotions help us learn. So the best thing that you can do when especially you're learning is to make sure that the fear of failure in the beginning is not paralyzing you, that you're not going there with the expectations like, oh, today is my first day of college and I'm going to be like 100% like perfect, or today is my first time editing a YouTube video and it's just going to come out like Mr. Beast edited it. It's not possible. So when we realize this, then that's when we start becoming like good and good at whatever we do. I'm not sure if this is recording. Okay, it's recording. Yeah. So that's how we overcome failure, when we first understand how the brain learns. The brain learns through repetition. So whenever you're trying a new thing, like let's say you're trying to get a new job and you want to go do an interview and you haven't done an interview before, right? Like when I started learning how to do my job interviews, oh boy, that was difficult. That was difficult. So what I did, I was practicing in the mirror. Yeah, yeah. I will go into the mirror and practice it over and over again. I'll be like practicing those questions, like tell me a little bit about yourself. And I had learned, like I just have to keep it like I'm attacking this one, I'll just keep it on my work experience and my education. So I would tell them, hey, I am from Kenya, and I would start like telling them, my work experience, what I have done about work and school, volunteer things that I have volunteered to do, but I practiced in the mirror because I was afraid. I was even afraid of calling my sisters and my friends and talking about how I will practice interviewing because you have to get good at this. You have to learn how to kind of like look presentable, buy a nice shot, like look professional, all that. And I had to practice it in the mirror because I wanted to be confident. And then I had to even understand that, to relax. Sometimes I do a meditation before I go to do the job interview. I would play those mind tapes that I am confident, I am beautiful, everybody loves me. I would play those over and over and over because why? I'm conditioning my mind because I know that confidence, I have to train my mind to be confident. I have to actually show your mind, just the way you teach a child, this is how confidence looks like. Like this is how people who are confident behave like. That's exactly how you do with your mind. If you want your mind to behave fearlessly, you have to train it. Like this is how being confident looks like. This is how people behave when they are confident. You kind of like training it like you're a child. Like it's like your mind is a child and you're training it how things move in life. Remember, you don't know some of these things, so you have to go look for books. You have to look for, YouTube has a lot of resources and people who give you advice on how to move confidently. Like kind of like everything that you have to do is understanding the mind works through programs, and you have to get in your program of confidence and fearlessness right away. You kind of have to create your own program about how to challenge your own limiting beliefs and how to fight back and challenge those limiting beliefs. So failure, when you normalize failure and you realize failure is necessary in learning, life is a trial and error. We are all trying, doing things, failing, learning a better way. Like learning is trial and error. That's what it is basically. Trial and error, trial and error. Sometimes when we fail, we feel ashamed. It's really like, oh my goodness, what a fail. You know, we feel ashamed. But when you learn to challenge that shameful feeling, like, what am I ashamed of? I wasn't born knowing. I wasn't born like having to, like, you weren't born like with perfect, being perfect, you know. Our perfect nature is very imperfect, you know. you know successful success has failure etched into its reality. So when it happens to you, it's like, whoa, let it remind you of humility and how human human you are, you know. And then, like, realizing that there is no way you can move out of it without embracing the fear. There is no way you can achieve any kind of success in life without going through the initial steps. And sometimes they can take almost like 3 years of trial and error before you get it right. And when you realize, like, I'm going to fail massively before I even start seeing signs of success, you know, and you're like, yes, I will have to have the attitude already, normalizing that failure. So when it comes, my attitude would not be to lock myself in a room, feel ashamed of myself, wonder what people will think. It's like I'll confidently get back up like the leader that I am born to be, and tell people, you know, I tried that for a while and it didn't work out, or I learned a new way of doing it and now it's starting to work out. And just normalizing it, normalizing failure, make failure normal, like just like taking a cup of tea. Mm? Like, I tried that, failed, woke back up. You know, like when you're telling people your stories, tell them, you know, how you fell and woke back up, so that you're training your mind to just make failure look so normal, like normalizing it, you know. Failure, when you fail in the public eye, it can be devastating, you know. Even literally falling down when people are watching you, it can feel so bad. I remember one time we were coming out of a party with my friends, and uh, they were coming over to my place. So uh, I parked because they had missed the exit. And when I was on the curb, you know, somehow I lost my balance and I fell. Yes, I lost my balance and then I fell. So imagine, they started laughing at me, and just falling, just the small thing of, like, you fell in front of so many people, just falling, right? And them laughing at you, really, I felt so bad. I felt like, wow, these are my friends. I fall, they laugh at me. I was like, I'm with the wrong company. I was, you know, I was in the wrong company. But, you know, I could not stay there. You know, I could not stay there. I had to wake up. You know, I just can't fall and just like stay there. I had to wake up. But then let's look at what the kind of behaviors that we have when we are so afraid of failure, is that we procrastinate. When you're afraid of, it's going to take so much energy, so much time, it may not even come out right, you start to procrastinate. Like, you're like, I can do it tomorrow. Maybe let me just make some tea and then I'll get back to it. Let me call my friend. Let me go for a walk. Let me just go for coffee. And then I'll do it, right? We procrastinate because the fear of failure is so much. But when you normalize it, when you know that, hey, it may not come out perfectly, but it will get me where I'm going. This can do for now. You know, this can do for now. Then you allow yourself to move to the next step and, you know, get better. We sometimes not only procrastinate, we avoid things altogether. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, right? Um, that 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 happens. Sometimes when you really have to do it, then your heart starts beating faster and faster, because now you're in survival mode, you know, you become tense. I am one of those people that I have sweaty palms, and when I am in a fear mode, or I'm fearing something, I will start having sweaty palms. Like when I go for an interview or something, I will start having sweaty palms because I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of these people not liking me, getting the job. Like sweaty palms, sweaty palms, sweaty palms. Those are the things that we do. Sometimes we sweat, sweat. Our heart rate is going up. We sweat. When these things happen to you, don't worry. Don't worry, right? Because it's normal. It's normal. Be like, well, I'm in the heat and thick of things. It's getting sweaty. So sometimes I'll just rub myself, have a tissue, or have a handkerchief that you have, and sometimes you just do this stuff like this, when you have like sweaty palms and you carry your handkerchief, it's always like neat and nice to carry your handkerchief and you just rub yourself. People will not know that you're sweaty. They won't know. They won't know. They'll think like you're just being very organized and in the moment. People won't know. A tissue, stuff like that. Sometimes you get paralyzed. Sometimes when you're fearing failure, you get paralyzed. Like it's called the freeze mode, freeze response. Just know that that's when you can go for a run because your body is paralyzed, like you're in the freeze mode where you're like, do I do something? Sometimes I'll just get out of the house, go for a walk, go for a run, then come back and work on my writing, or my classes. Like sometimes I'll do that just to make sure that my nervous system is not is not on the freeze. We have the fight or flight, just to make sure that if I feel like I'm paralyzed, like I'm trying to write, my thoughts are not coming through, or it's just not having the breakthrough that I need, I'll just go for a run. Like if you like this video, give it a thumbs up so that other people can know that this channel, we are talking about blooming. We want you to blossom. This is the oasis of self-love. This channel is the oasis of self-love. We use neuroscience, and time-proven spiritual practices to help and empower ourselves into blooming, into making our dreams come true. Making our dreams come true. We want you to have the mindset to make more money, to make great friendships, to live a happy, healthy, wonderful life, because you deserve it. You deserve it. You are worthy simply because you are breathing in air and you exist. You are worth it. You are worth it. Sometimes when we are afraid, we become pessimistic. I don't know about you, but sometimes we tend to become negative about things. Like, we start hating on other people that have it right, that have got it right. I know one guy, very pessimistic about relationships, and to each people have, sometimes people are bitter, like they see other people in relationships and they are not able to do their own relationships and they are bitter. So I know this one guy, he was telling me, he's like, I don't, it's hard to get into relationship these days. Women are gold diggers. All they want is your money. And I was like, if you have that attitude, you will fail. You are pessimistic. You're not positive. That's not a positive mindset. That's why you will not attract a healthy relationship in your life. A lot of people don't realize that. They are so much afraid of failing that they are becoming pessimistic about life. Always think for yourself that you will find love. When other people are failing about love, you will get it right because you're not afraid of failing. You're not afraid of getting to know people, getting into relationship, trying to understand them, that this will not happen to you. That's the mindset that you have when you're a winner. Failure is overcome by a winning mindset. And a winning mindset starts with normalizing and accepting that you might fail, right? But a righteous man falls 7 times, he wakes up 7 times. When you start having this winning mindset, you will try new things. You try new things. When you want to try new things and you're afraid of failure, try the saying that I was telling you. You only die once. You only die. You only die once, you know. So what's the harm in trying? What's the harm? What's the harm in trying? There's no harm in trying. So when we are too afraid of failure, we begin to have low self-esteem. We start thinking lowly about ourselves. Now this is not what I teach. A low self-esteem is the mind of the devil. We do not want that mindset. Here we want to bloom and blossom. We are worthy simply because we exist. We are worthy simply because we exist. You know, people may laugh at us failing, but they don't see the lessons that we have learned. They don't see that we are sharper, we are brighter. You know, some people are negative. They only see the failure. They don't understand that it's part of success. It's just part of it. You know, it's the way we go through success. So when you understand, like, there are symptoms, when you start to see these things happening, then you know that you're afraid of something. When you see yourself trying to avoid things, when you see yourself trying to procrastinate, when you see yourself getting sweaty, that your heart rate is beating up because you're like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm afraid of it, right? Then you realize, okay, there is some tension there. You know, I'm sweating. You know, when you find yourself being pessimistic or helpless, just realize, okay, this is a fear. This is a cue, you know, that my mind is becoming afraid of failure. You know, just let it be as a cue, you know, like, okay, it's my mind telling me that I'm afraid of something. And then after you realize that, that's when you start to challenge those thoughts. You challenge yourself. There is something that somebody told me. What kills procrastination, for example, is action, right? If you're feeling like, oh, I'm so afraid, I'm so afraid of failure, I'm beginning to procrastinate and avoid things, you know, what kills that is action. Action kills procrastination and avoidance immediately. It's the death of it. The death of it, right? So when you have that mindset, when you understand that, then you understand, like, I can't fail if I take action. You know, that's when because sometimes when we are afraid of failure, we want to avoid things, we want to procrastinate, and then when you realize, oh, once I take action, that's the end of it. You know, I cannot fail. I cannot fail if I take action. That kills it right there. It's the end of it. It's the death of it. You know, that kills it right there. So when you find yourself like paralyzed, like, oh, you don't want to go to do something, or, you know, you're sweaty. Let's say you find yourself like you're sweaty, your heart rate is beating, you're trying to do something, you can't concentrate. That's a good time to go for a run, to sweat out those stress chemicals, get them out of your body, exhaust your body to the point where it goes back to balance, to homeostasis, so that it can reset, right? So that it can reset. We also talk about like correlation between fear of failure and perfectionism. The people who are most perfectionist, they're the ones who tend to procrastinate more, because they feel they want everything to be perfect the very first time. You know, they don't embrace failure as and normalize it. You know, for them it impacts their self-esteem so highly. Perfectionist people fear failure because it impacts their self-esteem. So realizing that you're worthy simply because you exist. Simply because you exist. You know, you don't have to have won anything in life. You don't have to have money. You don't have to have a job. You don't have to have anything for you to feel worthy. You are worthy simply because you exist. Here at Bloom and having a winning mindset, We are not worthy because we did something great or we are kind or whatever. No, you have you have no reason to feel good about yourself. That is where we want you to be. Like, I'm feeling good about myself for nothing. Okay, for nothing. Doing things is a bonus. Okay, failure is a bonus. You know, I am feeling good about myself for nothing. So if I do something and I fail, that's a bonus. That's more reason for me to love myself. On the default mode, I just love myself because I'm breathing. Okay, I don't even have to be in good health. I don't even have to have good habits for me to love myself. That's the default mode. That's where we want to begin. So there is no need for perfectionism. There is no need to to relate that to relate success with any feeling good about yourself. We take that out of the equation completely. We take it out of the equation completely. So now that we are not trying to feel good about ourselves by doing things perfectly or pleasing other people. When that is out of the equation, we already feel good about ourselves. Then we can allow failure take its course because it's a part of life. It's a part of life. Like, failure will never be divorced from life. You know, failure is here to tell you that you should be humble as a human being because you're learning new things every day. You know, and when we embrace that, we go further in life. When we embrace that, we go further in life. So when you're afraid of taking, when you're so perfectionist, people who are perfectionists, they stifle creativity, you know, experimenting and productivity. You know, when you're afraid so much of trying new things because you want them to come out perfectly, you will not be creative. That's what I was saying in the beginning. Like, think of things when you're trying to do things in the beginning. Think of them as art. You know, creativity as art, self-expression. You know, because you're still working on your game. You know, you're still working on your strategies, your game, your systems. In the beginning, nothing becomes perfect, you know. And even people who started like geniuses in the beginning, people did not accept, did not, you know, did not acknowledge their geniuses because, let's face it, they were not geniuses. They were just trying out things. You know, and they sucked in the beginning just like everybody else. It's the time when people have like done something for 10 years and they're so good at it, and we look at them in, oh wow, Michael Jackson, he does that so effortlessly. Well, because he started when he was like 7, so even by the time he was 14, he had already put in like what, like 10 years or 7 years, you know. And you know, all those so many years of practicing every day, obviously he looks like a genius, like he was born with this, right? But you know, he had to put in work and time and effort. And that's what we mostly don't see. We don't see the days where he actually really sucked, like it was like we don't even recognize you, you know. But you know, kudos to him. And so many people who succeed early in life, they really, their parents got them starting early. So, but life is endlessly life. You will have to learn everything in life. You know, nothing is given to you. Even we learn how to crawl and walk, we have to learn those things. And if you look at children and how much time they get, they bump on things, they get hit by things. Just that kiddo is just trying to learn how to crawl. You know, if the kid decided like, oh, I'm done with trying to walk, I'm not gonna try tomorrow, mom, just put me in a crib all day. When I'm 7, I'll walk, all right? It can't happen that way, because the only way they strengthen their legs, their muscles, is by learning how to crawl, learning how to stand up and strengthen their standing muscles, you know. And then they have to learn coordination and balance, you know. We all have to learn things. Like, if you're afraid of failure, you will stop completely. You will not go anywhere. But when you embrace it, you realize, huh, it's going to be very difficult in the beginning. I'm trying to learn a new skill. I'm trying to learn a new way, something new, right? Then you can permit yourself to be creative. You can bring more productivity. You can bring more into your life. You can bring fresh new experiments in your life. I remember like one time I was thinking like, if I knew what I knew before I moved to America, what everything that I had to learn, I probably would not have moved, because moving to a new country can be very difficult, you know. But I have had to learn everything, you know, like everybody else in life. We have to learn how to drive. You have to learn to use your computer. Like you have to learn how to read, to write, you know, all these things. I never thought it was possible, but guess what? I found myself in a place where I have to swim to the from the back end. You know, I don't know if you learn how to swim or you know how to swim, but I remember this girl, her name is Julie, she showed me how to swim. So she showed me a few times, like, this is how you swim. She would take me to the deep end and help me come back to the shallow end. Take me to the deep end, help me come back to the shallow end. But then she felt it was my graduation day, but she didn't tell me it was my graduation day. So what she did, she just took me to the deep end, right? And then she left me there. She swam back. And I was like, whatever happens, I have to get myself back to the shallow end where I can stand on my feet and feel the floor of the swimming pool. Guess what? I took some water in, I kept going, and I got myself back to that end, and I felt more confident. After that time, I knew I can swim. I can swim, you know? And that is, imagine if I said in the beginning, I don't ever want to learn how to swim. I am afraid, you know, because, you know, I once almost drowned. So imagine if I said like, I never want to learn how to swim and stay with that, right? It would have been very, but now I feel empowered. So the more you try new things, the more you start embracing failure, the more you understand like, oh, that was a bumpy ride. And when I tried to learn how to swim, it was also a bumpy ride when I tried to learn how to cook. Oh, it was also a bumpy ride when I tried to play the piano. And then you realize, in the beginning, it's always a bumpy ride. So what the heck? I only die once, you know. Let me try again. That's all it's all about. It's all about trying. So try new things and then reflect. Always reflect. Reflect about your experiences and how you have experienced success in different things and failure in different things. And then you start appreciating other people and their skills more, because you realize, wow, the patience that they have had to have to learn a new thing. Or you feel like, you know, you can be vulnerable when you're talking to them about the things that you too have gone through. This is what it means to embrace failure, to understand like new things will seem difficult in the beginning because you're trying to learn, you know, and then you will try to run away from them. You will try to procrastinate, to avoid them, you know, but then you have to have the winning mindset, like action kills procrastination immediately. The only thing that kills procrastination is action. You have that mindset. When you feel blocked or paralyzed or sweaty, you can't get your thoughts together, go for a run, sweat out those stressful chemicals, because sometimes it's the cortisol hormone that's in your bloodstream that's just putting you into survival mode, kind of like learning how to get rid of that. That can really help. And then buy a book on mindset. You know, part of it is really training your mind to understand how to fight back fear. And when you read books or listen to talks like this, or, you know, program yourself in the morning and in the evening with understanding that failure is just part of the process repeatedly. You repeat this like it's in your awareness that failure is just part of the journey. It's okay. You're just making it normal. You're normalizing it. When you do that, even you can hire a coach. I'm one of the coaches that you can hire. If you want to really strengthen your mindset, I have wonderful classes. Wonderful classes. I my my clients love my classes. They love them, And so when you start having that winning mindset, you coach yourself, you train your mind about how it approaches failure on its own. That's a class on its own. Coaching your mind on how to approach failure and difficult circumstances, all that, it starts becoming second nature. It becomes part of who you are, your personality. And then that's how you get out of it, because we all know when we train the subconscious mind, it works for us. Passion, resilience, consistency, that is what unlocks your success. Passion, resilience, and consistency, that's what unlocks success. Somebody said, like, it's great. There's only one quality that separates people who are paralyzed by failure and people who actually overcome it and win. That is passion, consistency, and grit in action. They are always persistent. It's that farmer who's always farming. It's that carpenter who's always doing his carpentry job. It's that teacher who's always showing up. It's the passion, the consistency. That is what eventually kills procrastination, and that's the best way to embrace failure. Because let me tell you, even teachers who go to classes on a consistent day, right, doesn't mean that they don't get kids that are difficult. Even the carpenter who's always drilling and using his tools doesn't mean sometimes he doesn't jab himself with a sharp tool, but he keeps showing up. It's the passion, the consistency, the resilience that actually eventually unlocks. We have 8 more minutes here. Please like. My name is Kanini. Let me know what you think about embracing failure so far, what you think about it, everything that we have been discussing, how you feel about it, whether you have any challenges in overcoming. Again, my name is Kanini, and this is a Bloom, the oasis of self-love. In this channel, you're going to succeed. I'm going to indoctrinate you with a winning mindset. You will have to succeed. Hit that subscribe button. I go live twice a day, 8:30, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Hit that subscribe button. You will get indoctrinated into success. There is no way you cannot succeed. Because how do I know this? Because I have coached clients that are successful. I have coached clients that are very successful. All my clients were saying that she's going to buy a house. She's going to buy $1 million house. And it's consistency, key, opening your potential, unlocking your potential. Why wouldn't you succeed? Why would you not succeed when you have a coach who's trained in the way the mind works neurologically? It's like giving you a cheat sheet for success. Here, take it. Once you learn that, you can learn anything. The beginning part is difficult. Only the beginning part is difficult. But when you train your mind to be consistent, that's it. You overcome any limitation in life whatsoever. Once you learn, like, hey, it's not failure. It's just, a glitch in my system. My system is trying to just get it. It's the programming has not taken off, right? So, we want to destigmatize failure. There is no stigma in failing. It's the normal. We want to embrace failure, normalize it, destigmatize it, because there's no stigma in failure. Once you understand that, Like, hey, I'm going to make a video today if you want to like to be a YouTuber and it's going to suck, okay? But I'm going to put it anyway. People will see me suck until I become great. That's the attitude. That's the winning mindset. That's it. That is it right there, right? You know, you reframe the critical self-talk that I suck, that this is bad. You reframe the critical self-talk and be like, I love failure. It shows me that I'm learning. This is how we do it. this is how this is how it works. This is how people go far. They normalize failure. They're like, ugh. You know, remember like when you wrote your first maybe composition or piece and took it to your teacher, she probably was laughing. What kind of nonsense is this, right? But you kept writing. But you kept writing, you know? And that's how it will be, you know, when you start you putting out your work, you know, some people will go like, oh my God, that sucks, sucks, right? You have to normalize failure. Stop the stigma of failure. Stop being a perfectionist. Be human. Be vulnerable enough to fail. When you realize that you can fail, when you understand how to fail gracefully, that's when you begin winning. Don't take it too seriously. Failure is so normal. Laugh at yourself if you must. And put out your work out there, even the work that you don't really like. Put it out there, normalize it, let people have a field day with it, keep trying, keep getting better. Normalize failure, make it normal. You only live once and you die once. So, you know, nobody comes here with a manual like, hey, I'm so good at this. Nobody comes here with a manual like they are good at everything. Everybody learns through failure, through mistakes. That's how we learn. You know, when it sucks and you're like, that doesn't look good. That's when you know how to get it better the next time. So you reprogram your mind and you normalize it. So when do you know that you have gotten it right? When do you know you have gotten it right? You know, when you start seeing the impact it has on your abilities and the things that you're doing, you will know when your mindset has changed about failure, because you will start seeing success in multiple areas of your life. You did this, your attitude is impacting very different areas of your life. People will give you feedback about your attitude. I know when I started learning how to be very calm, people gave me feedback like, oh, you're very calm, you're very patient, you know, because I was patient with myself. I started learning to be patient with other people, you know, and that's when I started realizing it's changing. You hear feedback from other people. When you allow yourself to fail, guess what? You also allow other people to fail. And so people become more confident and comfortable around you because they know that you're not judging them. You know, you're allowing them to learn from their mistakes, to grow, to thrive, and then they start feeling more confident about you. You become a leader in your society. You become a leader and start impacting other people. Why? Because you know that the human brain learns through repetition. It learns through making mistakes and learning from them, getting that feedback. And when you learn that and you're kind with yourself, you're able to be that way with and kind with other people. You're able to extend generosity and grace. So let's look at why we are afraid of failure. For me, I know failure comes from a place deep down of insecurity. Because when I was learning, when I was going to school, and this is something that I have spoken up about, and I'll continue speaking up against it, is because I grew up in Kenya, and the teachers in schools, they beat kids for making mistakes in their learning. Nobody should beat you because you failed math or failed English, or you know, like you didn't get the perfect grade. But those teachers that used to teach us, they used to beat us and hit us. So when you're going to expect that somebody is going to beat you because you failed in a test, guess what? You're going to try to be perfect. You're going to try your best to be just the perfect person. Like, I don't want to fail ever. So the childhood impact of feeling that you have to succeed. They used to beat the heck out of us if we failed in school. And that's why a lot of people are afraid of failure. A lot of us have this perfectionism because we used to get punished for not being perfect little children. And when you grow with that perfectionism, it makes you afraid of failure, and being afraid of failure is very paralyzing, and it can affect your ability to be creative. It can affect your ability to be productive, to experiment and try new things. It comes from that. How do you overcome it? A lot of things is you pair new experiences with different things. Let me give you an example about what I mean about pairing. And this is neurological. For example, I used to hate porridge when I was young. Just the porridge that I used to be given when I was young, it had like water and like stuff like I didn't like. But then one time I was talking with my friend. Hi, hello Ram, how are you? Welcome to my channel. Welcome, welcome. We are talking about fear of failure and how we can overcome fear of failure. And one of the things that we can do is neurological pairing. So I was talking about when my friend made porridge for me, and she created a very different experience around the porridge, and I started again enjoying drinking porridge. So before, I had this difficult experience about taking porridge because I associated porridge with poverty and difficult circumstances in my life. And then when even people taking it away from me, like the people who are mistreating me. But then my friend, I was talking to her, I was helping her around the house. She made me the porridge again. And now the association that I had with porridge was of loving kindness, of friendship. And I started drinking porridge again. Before, I could actually vomit if I took porridge. And after she made porridge for me, because it was such a loving experience, it broke that cycle. So sometimes when you look at failure, you can break the cycle trying to do something that you're going to know 100% that you're going to fail, but doing it in a fun and loving way. That's why you start to destigmatize failure in your mind. That's how you neurologically start seeing failure in a different light. And then now that starts giving you the freedom to try new things, And I'll give you another example of destigmatizing failure. Hopefully, it can also help you. So when I was learning how to read, right, I had problems learning how to read. First of all, because my eyes, I had to do surgery because they were alternating, but they were also side, like one, the one eye would go on the side if it got tired of focusing. And then after it took a break, it would refocus again. But that meant that I had problems converging, and you need to converge your eyes so that you can read. So the teacher, my first teacher who taught me how to read, whenever I was struggling to read, she would literally hit me with a stick. Like she would hit me. And so with that, neurologically, paired reading with a stressful event. And it probably has happened to so many other people where they fear reading and learning because they associate reading with a stressful event. So what did I do to desensitize myself so that I can enjoy reading? I started going to places that I like with my book. Like I like going to a coffee shop where I can meet people who are fun and friendly and nice. And so when I'm reading, I am pairing reading with another event that's enjoyable and neurologically, overcoming this fear of learning and reading that my teacher impacted on me as a result of hitting me all the time when I was learning and reading, right? So you can see now neurologically, I am destigmatizing the fear of learning how to read and reading from my early childhood experiences, and that is giving me a new way of learning how to read, and it reframes it neurologically in my mind. It's a whole different experience now when I'm reading. I read books that I love, I'm able to read like books like this, like huge books, right? Because I overcame that fear. So when we normalize and destigmatize fear neurologically by pairing activities that we are afraid of with fun things, it can really make a difference. When I was recruiting, I would ask people if they're putting in their application. I know some of them are feeling bored. They don't want to put in the application and all that. I tell them, just put on your favorite show or your favorite movie, and then just pair your application process with something fun, something that you like to do. And guess what? They would finish their application faster than other, like my candidates would do their application faster than other recruiters. Why? Because I understand the mind, and I am able to apply that when I'm in a leadership position to help motivate people, to help them overcome their fear of rejection, to help them overcome, so neurologically, I start pairing what I was doing and helping other people with something nice, something that they will already enjoy and have fun, something that will feel them wanted, something that will make them feel safe, and so they are able to just knock it off completely, It's just like that. So when you're trying to learn new things and you're afraid of failing, pair them neurologically with things that you have that you like call your friend. I notice sometimes, like when I'm doing my business things and doing my writing, if my friend is right there, I do it better. I do it better, I do it faster, because I'm not afraid of failing. And my friend, she's very good because she's kind of like eggs me on, like I can never do anything wrong. She's always like encouraging me. So having that kind of support, friends that support you also, will also make you feel less fearful, and 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 even normalizing failure. So those mindsets that you have, you normalize failure, you make it look so normal for you that it's normal to it's normal to fail. It's okay to fail. It's okay. We have been taught in the past that failure is a bad thing. I want you to think about failure is a good thing. The more you fail, the quicker you succeed. And it's true. The more we fail, the quicker we succeed. So you want to try so many things and enjoy the failing experience, enjoy the getting up, all that. Yeah, start doing it. Don't expect it to be perfect the first time. Don't expect anything to be perfect. Put out your best work even when it's not perfect. Put it out. Sell it for some dollars. Do some what? Gibberish. Go sell it out there for $10, $15, whatever. Normalize that failure. Uh, like Dawn, Ram. Yeah, I'm doing well. I am doing well, Ram. Thanks so much for tuning in. How's your day going? What are you guys up to? So right now I'm in the Q&A. If you're there, let's connect. I think I've talked about failure and normalizing failure enough. If you still want more, you can join me at 6:30 8:35 p.m. Pacific time, we are going to tackle this topic even more. And you're going to love it. The more you condition your mind, the better. The more you hear this, the better. Life is about creating programs in our mind, and we learn new programs through repetition. So the more you hear something, the more it becomes familiar to your mind, the more you get better at it. So the more you normalize failure, the better you become. Welcome, welcome. I love to see you. Yeah, tell me how you're doing. I love, 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 love hearing from you. And, so I went overtime today on this topic. I went overtime. I went 70 hours. I went 70 minutes. So let's see you tomorrow. Today, if you want to come back today at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, I'm still going to go live, and I want to see you. Let's talk about, embracing failure so that we can unleash our creativity and our productivity and learn. So let's get back later today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and let's see you then.